What is up, everybody? Welcome to the channel today. Thanks for stopping by. If you are a new subscriber to the channel, or if you didn't catch the first video in this series that I did 2 weeks ago, let me just give a quick recap as to what this is. Essentially, I was just looking for a platform, I don't know, to be able to just kind of sit back and chat with you guys. This is before I had done any live streaming, and I was really looking for an opportunity to get to know my subscribers a little bit better, to be able to answer questions that might require a little bit more in-depth than just what I could type in a couple characters in Twitter or mention down in the comment section below. So I put out a question submission video a couple days before this one, and give people an opportunity to ask questions there. So that is where all of these questions are coming from. I've pulled them from that video. So if you're interested in participating in that in the future, do keep your eyes out. I will mention that I'm going to make one change to this video. In the original video that I put together, I grabbed a screenshot of the person who was asking the question and put the original question in the video, and I really like that, but to be honest, it took so much time editing. 20-minute video was like 2 or 3 hours of me grabbing screenshots and throwing it all together. It just takes a lot of time, and to be honest, if I skip all of that, I'll be able to get to more questions, be able to pack more questions in here, and that really is kind of the purpose. I think that's more important than getting those screenshots up. So, I apologize that you're not going to see your name on here, but I will mention your name and then read your question, and we'll just kind of give explanations and answer them to the best that I can. I don't claim to be an expert in any of these areas. The questions are not necessarily limited to MCOC. You're welcome to ask anything you like. At this point, I have no idea what is actually playing. I haven't decided on anything yet. I'm just doing the voiceover and reading through the questions. Then I'll go back later and record some gameplay footage. So I don't know if I'm going to show some gameplay with Angela or run Batista's event. I do need to put in some time in the arena for Phoenix, so who knows? Maybe it'll be a combination of all those things. But the main purpose of this is just to give you, I don't know, a little bit of background noise, I guess, while you're grinding for Phoenix. Or if you're grinding for Rocket, if you don't have the rat yet, best of luck to you there as well. Alright, let's get into the first question. Carl brings us our first question, says, "Hey Joel, great video as always. Do you think I should rank up my unduped Drax to rank 4? I don't know, are you saying you have a 4-star Drax you should take up to rank 4, or I'm assuming that you have a 5-star Drax you're wanting to take up to rank 4, is more likely the question there. Whenever I get questions about rank ups, it's really hard for me to say just a flat yes or no. Those answers are not always as black and white, I think, as people would like them to be. A lot of that depends upon, who else you have in your roster, what kind of alliance you're in, what maps you're running, what alliance war tier you're in, what your overall roster looks like. As far as 5 stars go, there aren't too many 5 stars in the basic 5-star crystal that are better than Drax. The only other ones that I probably would take up before Drax, if you're sitting on a Magic or if you're sitting on a Star-Lord, especially a dupe Star-Lord, that I would take up both of those before I took up Drax. But really, in the long run, you can't go bad. Even before you dupe him, he is still really good, does a ton of damage. But after you dupe him, he's an absolute monster. So, if you're not sitting on a Magic or a Star-Lord as a 5-star, I would say that's not a bad choice. Druv, D-H-R-U-V, I hope I'm saying that right, Druv Wasson. Any chance you could give us tips, make a video on how to find a Tier 1 Alliance War level Dormammu? Dormammu is not a character I've had a whole lot of time playing against. Because he is so new, he has not really filtered down into much of the Alliance Wars. I have seen him here and there, but I have not had the privilege, I guess you could call it, of fighting him much. That will all change here shortly as we get into the new Alliance questing season, with him being the boss. The few times that I have run into him in the arenas, he reminds me very much of Venom in that he's a large model character, but he is very, very fast. He seems to have a lot of the same kind of swiping motions and animations that Venom had. And I will say, especially since he's a mystic, Captain America World War II is going to be an excellent choice there. I find that for the larger, more aggressive AI characters, that blocking and baiting out heavies for them is a lot easier than trying to evade their attacks and trying to parry. I don't know if that's just me, but I've always found that to be a lot easier. focus on blocking and pushing them back into the corner. And I have a feeling that's probably going to be a similar tactic that I will use for the Alliance Quest Dormammu boss that we'll see. Captain America, Classic Cap, Hulk even, probably all good champs for that. Order 66 asks, I have one 5-star. Should I go for a featured 5-star for my second? Again, that's another hard one for me to answer. Me personally, the only reason that I don't go for featured at this point is that I value having more 5-stars at this point than having, you know, maybe 1 or 2 featured champs here and there. Only because I am spending a lot of time now in the featured hero arena, which you can use your 5-star champs in, and your 5-star champions give you so many more points in the arena that having, you know, I would prefer to have, you know, 3, 4, or 5 extra 5-star champs, even if they're not all that great, like I said, than having maybe 1 really good featured champion. That is my personal opinion on it. I'm sure that will all change as my roster continues to grow. But personally, especially if you only have 1, I would not waste the 5,000 crystal or 5,000 shards just to pull the same character that you may already get in the standard crystal. But that really is up to you. You know, if you're not in it for the long run or necessarily going for featured champs, you know, the 5-star featured crystals are a lot of fun, and there's a lot of hype when you can pull them. So that is my advice. Take it at face value. Do with it what you will. That's kind of up to you. Daniel asks, Daniel Noonkirk, how are you enjoying Loki family? Are there any differences in outlooks or strategies that stick out in comparison to Haha? Daniel, I believe, is in my sister alliance. I don't know if he's down in 3 Loki or 2 Loki. I'm not sure, to be honest, but I think he's in one of those. If you were not aware, I did leave Haha. I guess it's been about a week and a half ago. Joined 4 Loki over with Frojo and Brian Grant, a bunch of other really great guys. It's definitely very different. I don't really want to say that one is better than the other, because Haha is just a very different alliance. It was a very high-level, good group of guys, but a much more relaxed atmosphere, and that's what we wanted. There was really no hardcore grinding or any expectations like that going on. We were just there to have a good time. So Loki is I don't want to say we don't have fun, because it's a great group of guys, but there's a lot more hardcore grinding that goes in. There's a lot more that's expected out of each member of the group, and that's exactly what I was looking for, and that was the reason why I made the switch. But those are the main differences. That's really kind of up to you. It is a game, so if you're kind of into the more hardcore aspect of it, you may enjoy like 4 Loki or an alliance like that. If it's a game you're just looking to have a little bit of fun with, though, you know, I totally understand that aspect of it as well. Richard Johnson asks, let me see here, I said that wrong. Asked before, but do I take a duped Black Widow or an unduped Gwenpool to 50? I'm assuming that is 550. Again, that really depends upon your situation. I think Gwenpool in the long run is probably a better champ, but if you are running Alliance War, let's say you're running Thorns nodes, or you're running against Spider-Man a lot, you know, Gwenpool is, I shouldn't say that, because Gwenpool is actually still pretty good for Spider-Man, but if you're needing the lowering of the defensive ability accuracy, you know, I would take in Black Widow, but if there's not a lot of that you are doing, then I would prefer to take in Gwenpool. I think in the long run, like I said, she'll be a better champ for you. Vikram asks, hey Joel, how does the King Groot regen work? Looks like he's trying to time it up with his Guillotine Special 2. I did make an entire video on how that works. I will leave the link to that video down in the description below, so definitely go check that out. In the very, very short answer, he has a Fury stage, and he has a cooldown stage that he goes into regen. I believe he has to be duped to go into the regen. So basically, you're just looking for the Furies to fall off, and that's when you would be using your S2. But definitely go check the description down below. Go watch that video. It's a very in-depth guide. It'll let you know exactly what you need to do there. Chad asks, what do you think about Beast? Worthy of rank 5? I think that I have a much brighter outlook on Beast than much of the community does, at least the YouTubers, it seems like. I think Beast is an excellent champ, especially, well, I shouldn't say especially, but only if he is duped. I think the higher level dupe that he goes, the better he becomes. I have one at rank 5. I use him all the time. The one caveat I would say is it depends upon whether you already have a classic Wolverine or an X-23 or a Rogue at rank 5. If you have any of those champs, I would take one of them up first. You don't necessarily need all of them at rank 5 before you take up Beast, but you'll certainly need one of them because they're all slightly better champions than Beast. But Beast has excellent bleed damage, excellent damage overall, gets health regeneration back, has a little bit of a power lockdown. He can lower the power gain significantly enough that it might as well be a power lock. So he's got a lot of utility. I really enjoy playing with him. C. Rob asks, hey, are there any certain champs that you are looking forward to them bringing into the game that are not in the game currently? I'm really looking forward to seeing the new champs that are coming to the game as a result of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie that is coming out. We are in desperate need of some tech champs, so I would love to see some more tech champs brought. As far as characters that are not, you know, we have no idea if they're coming or not, but I feel like there's a lot of really interesting and cool characters that are in kind of the Spider-Man line of Marvel that would be really cool champs to see in MCOC. Doc Ock would be awesome, Green Goblin, that lizard dude, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Carnage, I feel like everybody says Carnage, but he would be really cool to see. Am I missing anybody else? Kingpin, I guess he'd be kind of like, hopefully a better Joe Fixit. But yeah, there's a ton of champions that they can bring in. Doc Ock, I think, is probably near the top of everybody's list. I would love to see a Doc Ock come to the game. Talia asks, hi, I have 2 generic Awakening Gems and was wondering if you can give a list of your top 7 that you think would be worth awakening. Ooh, man. You know, this is another question that is difficult for me to answer because ultimately it comes down to this. I would say that if you are, let's say you're running an Alliance Wars and you've got characters that you use all the time that are not awakened, you know, I don't think it's a bad idea to use generic Awakening Stones on good champions that you use a lot. I think people, and I always feel like people are waiting for this kind of magic perfect case scenario, you know, where they get the best champion in the game and they're awesome if they're awakened and everybody's holding on to him for that. And I get that if you have that luxury to do that, some people do. You know, but for me, like when I got the first generic Awakening Stone from patch 12.0, I had Wolverine and X-23, and X-23 was awakened, but Wolverine was not. And I was planning on using both of them a lot in Alliance Questing and Alliance Wars together. Also wanted to be able to use them in Act Exploration. And for that reason, I actually awakened my Wolverine and dumped a bunch of signature stones into him. You know, is that probably necessarily what everybody should do? No, but he's a character that I'm going to be using a lot, that is helped out a lot by having himself awakened. So I know that was kind of a long and not really pointed answer, but that is kind of the first part to that. The second part is if you're looking, I guess, specifically for a list, maybe to kind of help point you in a direction. Characters that I know for sure really benefits from being awakened would be characters like Thor, Hulk, Black Widow. I'm trying to think of any Scarlet Witch. Man, I should have put a list together before I did any of this. But characters like Spider-Man, you know, you may not think of him, but if you're using him as you know, a defender, he's going to be much better. Obviously, as a awakened character, so there's another opportunity to use an awakening gem. Beast is a much stronger character being awakened. Captain America World War II, his signature ability basically gives him perfect block all the time if characters are running with buffs up, which happens a lot. So, I mean, there's a lot of good options there. If there's a specific list you're looking for me to put together, you know, I probably should take some time to put a video together for that, but I would just use a little common sense. Look through your roster, find characters that you use a lot who would benefit from being awakened, and start there. That's probably the best place to start, but if you're looking, you know, to find the perfect champ, you know, maybe consider a few of those that I mentioned. Akshay asks, hello Joel, I have a 4-star Hyperion and a 4-star Dr. Voodoo, neither of them duped. To whom must I upgrade to rank 4? Well, first off, dude, you are super lucky. I wish I was in your position. Did you grind for them in the featured arena, or did you pull them from crystals? Either way, congrats to you. There are much worse spots to be in than trying to pick through these two champions. I would say that if it was me, I think that I would take Dr. Voodoo up first, But I would say that if you have a Scarlet Witch or a Doctor Strange already at rank 4 or rank 5 at a decently high signature level, I probably would take up Hyperion first. Dr. Voodoo is better than both those characters, but he is more similar in such a way that I think you would benefit probably by having Hyperion to kind of pair up with Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange. So I hope that answers your question. Take them both up to rank 4 as quickly as you can. That's the that's the perfect case scenario. Ant-Man42, can you do a video review on Agent Venom similar to what you did on Black Widow and Crossbones? Yes. I get asked all the time to do reviews on characters. It's not that I'm not listening to people or want to do it, but there are a lot of characters to review, and those videos take a long time to put together. So don't feel bad if I'm not putting out the character you've requested. It's not because I'm overlooking you. I'm just trying to get to as many relevant characters as I can as quickly as possible. So just hang in there. He actually is not a character I even have as a 4-star, but as soon as I do get him as a 4-star, you definitely will see that video come out. Piper at the Gate asks a great question. Hi, I'm about to join the Veteran League in Arenas. Let's see, I believe after the second Black Bolt, it's 60 days. And I'm worried I won't be able to get a 4-star for a while now. How many 443 stars do you think is required to compete? That is a question that I don't exactly have hard data for you as far as, you need 20 teams or you need 15 teams, whatever it may be. I will tell you what I do. I've got about somewhere between like 70 and 74 4-star heroes. And of those 70-ish, I run probably 65 of them through the arena. And when I do that with just my 4 stars, I pick up somewhere between about 500 and 600,000 points is about what I pick up. So I know you're asking about 3 stars, but all I'm saying is this: run through your roster that you've got and see what a full run is going to get you, and do it when you have your full multiplier of 3. If you run through your roster and you're picking up somewhere around 200,000 to 300,000 points, then I think you're probably ready to go into the basic arena and at least put up easily 3 million points or so. I know some of the more difficult, some of the more sought after champs are going between 4.5 and 5 million, but there are a lot of champs that are going for under 3 million. So I mean, ultimately, even if you're only put up 100,000 per round, technically anybody can do it if they grind constantly for the full duration. But I would say, in order to keep yourself from going absolutely crazy, once you can grab somewhere around 300,000 points every run that you go through, I think that's a fairly decent spot to be. You're only going to get stronger and pick up more points the longer you play the game. So just stick in there. Those first couple of 4-star basics, getting those under your belt, those are the most difficult. But as your roster grows, it'll become a lot easier for you. Cuckoo the Jack, I love your name, dude. Hey Joel, could you explain the new AQ season changes and possible boss killers for Dormammu? Well, I talked a little bit about the Dormammu part, but I will touch on the AQ season. Basically, they have just simplified everything, and I can't thank Kabam enough for doing that. Before, there was like, I should have counted, but it was like, was there 6 different brackets? There might have even been more, I don't know. And I had the hardest time trying to figure out what bracket I was in, what rewards were coming up. They have kind of scrapped all that, and they just have 3 basic tiering now. You've got your beginner tier, you've got your intermediate tier, and then your high-end competitive tier. And I think that makes everything much more simple. I will try to find, there is a great picture that was posted in my Line app for our alliance that kind of broke down as far as the tiering, what number of alliances are falling up and down. I will try to grab that. I'll either put that as a screenshot here or leave a link down in the description for that below, so look out for both of those things. Essentially, there's not a whole lot that I know. I don't have any inside information on this, so the information you have in the forums is the same that I've got. But definitely we'll wait to see the actual changes in game before I give my full opinion. But from the surface, just looking in, looks like a lot of these changes are going to streamline and make the AQ experience a lot better for everybody. Alice Adventures asks, hey Joel, how can you make people notice your videos? Dude, I don't know if there's necessarily like a magic formula for that. Whatever it is that you're doing, let me just step back. When I started, I was very fortunate to get into the game when there was a lot of changes that were taking place. So, for instance, when the information dropped for the very first time on the forums about the patch 12.0 that was coming, I ran in, I grabbed my computer, and I did kind of a first take reaction on that because I knew that those first couple of hours people were going to be pouring through YouTube looking for videos on that. So I just gave my initial opinion, my initial thoughts. I put together a very basic video, put that out there, and for me at that time, I think I had like, you know, maybe 100 subscribers, maybe. I can't remember, to be honest, but that video got like 1,000 views within, I think, just a couple days, and that brought in a large number of people to my channel. So I think the first thing I can say is make information that is relevant to what is going on in whatever field or whatever game it is that you are participating in. You know, go where the people are at. That is the first thing that I would mention to you. Then ultimately, what is more important is once you do have a few people clicking on your videos, is make good content. You know, I don't care how catchy your title is. I don't care how interesting looking your thumbnail is. If people click on your videos and they are underwhelmed because of your lack of presentation or because you didn't think the video through, you know, for whatever reason, if it's not good content, then that is the only time that person is going to come to your channel. You know, you've got about 10 to 15 seconds to grab the person's attention and then hopefully hold it. And if you've got good content, they're going to keep coming back. They're going to share it with your friends, and that ultimately is where you'll see growth. It does take a long time in the beginning, and I don't mean to sound like some sort of an expert. I'm not. I've only been doing YouTube since the end of January, but I can tell you with what tiny bit of success I have had has only come from the fact that I have been very fortunate to be a part of a community that I think really it looks for good content. It knows good content when it sees it, and it rewards people for doing that. And that can kind of be said across the board regardless of what game you're playing. So content is king. Focus on your content. That is the main message that I'm trying to get across here. Big D's MCOC asked, and I think somebody else asked here. Let me scroll up. Yeah, Liv Welling asked a question. Hey Joel, what program were you using to make the thumbnail? I use Photoshop. And then Liv asks, are you a graphic designer? What program are you using? I am not a graphics designer. I have had no formal teaching or classes or anything like that. I dabbled in Photoshop quite a bit in high school. But no, this is not Photoshop. This is a free website called Canva, C-A-N-V-A, canva.com. It's got a great program to use if you're looking to kind of start making thumbnails on the cheap, which is exactly what I was looking to do. At this point, I probably should become some sort of a spokesperson for Canva. I feel like I talk about them more than anybody else, but yeah, that's where it's at. Go check it out. Yeats Shiny Leg asks, what are your thoughts on the new resource Glory? I actually talked a little bit about this in my live stream this past Wednesday night, but for me, there's two sides for me. First off, I'm happy to see that they are adding more content to the game that is going to help people progress. So that part of it I'm totally fine with. The other part that kind of makes me scratch my head is that I don't understand why we need an entire new resource. You know, we have this alliance loyalty, alliance chips, whatever you want to call them, that have almost no point. There are very few things that you use them for other than, personally, I don't spend a lot of them because I've got to dump so many of them into my alliance for my donations. If there were more interesting things that I could use them for, I would be all for that. So I feel like they really didn't necessarily need to make an entire new resource. They could have wrapped that all up into loyalty. But, I mean, I understand the direction, I guess, but it just seems a little bit unnecessary. So, am I excited to see Glory? Yes. I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. It's a good change. I won't bash Kabam for that. Doc Strange, what other games do you like to play besides Marvel? I do not play any other games besides MCOC. My kind of console, laptop, computer gaming days are pretty much behind me at this point. There is not a whole lot of time that I find for myself when the end of the day comes after I've worked. I've got a wife and a family, and I take care of all the MCOC stuff going on. there's not a whole lot of time for anything else. So right now, MCOC is really the only thing that I'm focused on. I'm totally happy to do that because I do enjoy playing the game so much. Douglas Patterson asks, can you explain diminishing returns and how it works in MCOC? Works the same as it does in any other game. Essentially, the more of a resource or an item that you stack onto your character, the less and less value that it actually has. So these are all hypothetical numbers that I will use for example, so do keep that in mind. Let's say that you stack 100 critical rating on your character, and that 100 critical rating gives you a 10% increase to crit. So your logic says if I stack another 100 on top of that, it's going to give me 10 more percent, so now I'm going to have 20% critical rating. But that's not how it works. You know, the second 100 that you stack may only give 5%, and if you stack another 100 on top of that, it may only give 2%. So as you see, the more and more of an item or resource or whatever it is that you've got that you're stacking, it becomes less and less valuable. The returns that you're seeing from it are diminishing. So that's kind of where the diminishing returns, the catchphrase or keyword or whatever you want to call it, comes from. And then finally, our last question comes from Architect Moez. It's a very long question about loyalty. Basically, we need a guide. Is a UC 4-star worth purchasing with 365,000 loyalty, or wait for a 5-star? If you do purchase the 4-star, is it worth duping? Let's see. There's more to the question. Do you recommend buying Alliance crystals with 1,000 loyalty shards daily? Do you recommend buying cores, potions, boost, using loyalty? Ooh, that's a long one. I purchased the 4-star UC way back when I first got 365,000. Right now, I am sitting at somewhere around 450,000. And I am at a point in the game now where I don't really see any benefit for me blowing another 365,000 to awaken a UC 4-star that I never use. The other issue that I personally have, and the reason that I no longer purchase the loyalty crystals every day, is that my alliance, and when you're in a top alliance, it requires, when you're running map 6, a very large donation of loyalty every week. So right now it's somewhere between like 20 and I think 25,000 that we have to donate every week, depending upon how many map 6s we are running. So, you know, you really rely on the fact that you're going to win some alliance wars, and if you don't, then that is really going to start eating into your stash. So I never want to blow my loyalty on crystals or to spend a lot of it in one big purchase on UC. Because I need to have all of that in my back pocket to be able to donate. Now, if you are in a smaller alliance that is running maybe a free map or a map 5 or map 4 that doesn't require such a big donation, then I would say it's not a bad idea to buy those crystals. Those can give you a lot of valuable resources that you can use, especially if you're trying to progress. The other thing is, I know a lot of people buy the cores, especially for Mystic Dispersion, with their loyalty, so that's kind of another option. I would say in the future that we probably will see a change to the class-specific masteries to where they, you know, kind of across the board will be useful things, or at least more useful things than just Mystic Dispersion. So you never know. You may be finding yourself buying more cores in the future, but personally, in my position, I would not buy UC. I think it's better off you kind of building those up, especially if you're looking for more end-game content, getting into a larger alliance. You know, having a bigger stash is probably going to be more benefit to you than having some unduped UC running around. Okay, I know I know that was a really long video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Just something for you guys to listen to, like I said, in the background, maybe while you're grinding for Phoenix. That is what I'm going to be doing this weekend. Hopefully we'll pick her up just under 5 million. I'm kind of a little burnt out after putting up, what, 23 million points in last week between the two arenas for Angela. But anyway, I know a lot of my answers were pretty wordy, so if I missed your question, it was only because I was trying to cut things down a little bit and keep this under an hour. Anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by. I hope you all have a great Friday, have a happy weekend, and I will see you all in the next video.